Hello and welcome. This is Ashley and Bella from Unlock Your Design, and we are here coming at you today 30 minutes late, but if you're on our rhythm and you're intuitively know us, then you're on time. And we're on time because we are operating in the universe's timing, not our own. We came here today to talk about the energy in transit, the new year that's coming up, anything new that you might be starting, and how the energies that are alive today and moving forward will set you up for success or failure, depending on how you are reacting or responding to them. So that's what we're coming at you today with. And thank you again for being part of our audience. And for those of you as well who are joining our new initiatives, we are starting a lot of new things this year. This is one of them, going live, and we had a lot of technical communication issues. Mercury is also retrograde, so there's a lot of miscommunication and on both of our parts. And thank you again, like I was saying, for being part of our new initiatives, because sometimes there's difficulty at the beginning. And depending on how much time and effort and energy and pivoting we put into something, it really can just go down the toilet if the universe that's what is in the cards. And I think it's our reaction, our response to that is going to either keep us moving forward or just like throwing our hands up and letting it all go and being like, never mind, it's not supposed to be like this. Like when people say like, oh, I was just not supposed to be in that relationship, or I wasn't supposed to have that job, because people just don't want to like push past the limitation and the pressure and the wall to kind of make it happen. They're not willing to use any of that yang energy. They want things to just come to them and receive it. Be like, oh, it didn't work out. It wasn't supposed to. So anyways, Bella, how would you guide us and direct us into this live stream and this energy? What's alive for you?
Yeah, I think that's a really good place to start. What are you in that situation? I know that I'm on the other side of that. Usually when something doesn't work out, it makes me try harder. And sometimes it's a Taurus and somebody that's fixed. It makes me bang my head into the wall. Because if it didn't work out, then I have so much more investment into actually having it work. And I actually also feel way worse when the other person or people just say, okay, it wasn't supposed to be. Like, that's really aggravating. And I think that kind of takes us into those stories that we're usually in. And it's a new year soon, or it was a new year, depending if we look at the Chinese New Year next, or the 22nd, or the new year, the calendar year, where either we're continuing with the same stories and the same loops and the same problems, or we change the narrative. And I think that that's even part of like today, we're like, okay, now we're late because we didn't communicate. So do we give up? Or do we try even harder? Or what's the golden middle way? And maybe like, what can we do that's different if the narrative that we had before kind of having us continue the same things and stories that aren't positive, and what's the options?
Yeah, let's get really specific and tangible so you kind of understand, because the new year is coming soon. Like right now we're in the transit of the 60. The 60 is bridging the gap between Aquarius and Capricorn energy. And so part of this transit, the 60, yes, we're in 60.1, the 60 is going to be in Capricorn energy. And this is all about structure and planning and discipline, right? And Capricorn's ruled by Saturn. And then we have Aquarius, and Aquarius is sudden, unexpected changes. It's ruled by Uranus. And there's just something about the 60 holding both poles. And this is all about like being able to create these containers for magic or manifestation to happen. It's about playing by the laws of the universe, or pushing through that limitation. So we could be feeling and experiencing quite a bit of limitation during this time. And the content and information within that limitation, it's your reaction to the wall. And it's like, when it gets tough, will you throw in the towel and walk away? Or is it asking you, do you really want to do this? Is this really something that you're going to invest your time and energy in? Because when you start it, you're going to have this it's a commitment, it's a contract, you're going to move forward in it. And depending on how you act or react during this next time, it's going to tell the universe kind of your state of being and what you're willing to stand behind or fight for, which is also important for Aquarian energy, because they're revolutionaries, they're fighters, they're here to stand behind something. And it's like, if you can't push through the limitations or even recognize there are limitations being imposed, then are you the one to give up or the one to stand up? And sometimes the ones that stand up are the ones that are here to help humanity, to help the community, and that's exactly the kind of stuff that we're going to be going into in the Masterclass series tomorrow called The Setup. And we're going into Aquarian energy and all of the archetypes that are going to be in transit, the planet we're going to describe. We're going to talk about the zodiac sign, Aquarius, and the house that it rules. So all this information, why is this even important, Bella? Like, why?
It is important. I just want to say one more thing about the chart and then take it down so we have that done. Going back to what I was saying before with the story that continues. So what you can see is the sun and Pluto together. It's one transit every year. The sun is going to be in the 60 for 6 days. And that's when it's going to be in the same gate as Pluto. It's only one day a year that the sun is together with Pluto. And that's going to be tomorrow. You see the sun is in 60.1 and Pluto is in 60.2. So tomorrow the sun is going to be in 60.2 together with Pluto. And that's the gate of limitation. Opposite that gate of limitation, you have Black Moon Lilith. And Black Moon Lilith, it's Lilith who was thrown out of paradise because she was way too wild for Adam to be able to be with her. So here we have that story that continues. I'm thrown out of paradise. I'm not with the person that I want to be with doesn't want to be with me. These are all the stories in a way, all the suppressed anger that we don't know how to come to terms with. And it's a life where we're in the distraction of the loops that we are perpetuating. Gate 56, instead of being in the enrichment of life. What more is possible? If this happened today, what more is possible for the next 6 weeks that we're planning to go live, or whatever that thing is? So it's
where does the 56 even get these stories? He gets it from the 11, who's like sending these beliefs down. We believe in this. We believe in this. And the 56 makes a story about it. And that's the limitation. That's the barrier. Oh my gosh, this and that. I want to kind of talk about what like actually happened, because I feel like because Bella and I are really great communicators when we're communicating, we can unpack it and then we move past it. But oftentimes you're not even understanding what's going on behind the scenes. So you don't make any shifts, you don't grow, and you're like,
you have a million reasons for why the other wronged you and why you didn't do anything wrong and why it's going to happen again because you
evidence, more and more evidence to show the 56 that the 11 belief, it's true. Here's all the reasons why. But we have a beautiful opportunity in the 41, which is the start codon, to start a new storyline, to believe something different, to rewrite the programming. To be like, okay, my DNA is not going to replicate this story anymore. This is about epigenetics. And even though this happened before a million times, I'm going to choose something different. And I'm going to collect evidence that proves this right.
And this is the other thing right now that is important, that similar to the sun and Pluto, Venus is also fast and Saturn isn't fast. So the sun and Saturn are going to be together one day a year too, and they're going to be close for a little bit more time. And what happens when we are in Aquarius with the Venus, it has to do with relationship, with love, and then we have Saturn which has to do with rules and guidelines, right? In the gate of principles, and then the 13th is the fellowship of man. So right now, in the next few weeks, is this re-evaluation of relationships. This speaking about, okay, what are the principles that we have in this relationship? How do I feel loved? How do I feel respected? What are my values? What are your values? Because sometimes, even if we've not known each other for years or been in a relationship for years, we don't really know what is important for the other. We think that what's important for us is important for the other too. And this is exactly where we want this to come up, so that we don't fall into pessimism and reaction forever in those relationships, but that we can find more of that optimism, more of that listening, more of that reciprocity, and more of that revolution, going new, Aquarius, together into the future.
Ooh, so Saturn in the 49 principles. Yeah. And so I'm going to tell you the story of today, but from a place that Bella's not wrong. I'm not wrong. There's nothing wrong with with our relationship. And so just to like make sure that, you know, we're speaking from a place of, we just went through it, and don't read into anything. If like, we're good. we're good. So I'm sharing this with you for the reason of, we need to give something like the 56 needs to tell a story so you can understand and put it into your life. Because if we're just speaking abstractly and not tangibly, then it might be hard to connect to this. And you can start to see it happening in your life, in your relationships, in your business. Don't be scared, Bella. Don't be an unease, or be an unease. Bella and I had planned to start a live stream series, and all last year we did not do any kind of, we were kind of more in the background with our programs and stuff, especially because I started a journey with psychedelics, and I was on my own healing journey and in my own healing within my personal life. So there wasn't a lot of time that I wanted to like be like really out in the open, unless somebody was like in my container, there was an energy exchange, and it wasn't just like out in the open. That's what the story I'm telling myself of why we weren't as out there last year, because the focus was more on healing for me last year. And so because it's been like a long time since we've gone live, and Bella loves, you see Bella's the forward facing person. I'm kind of behind the scenes in technology. Sometimes I come on, but I'm back. And Bella loves for us to be a united front. And so part of that is having things that are consistent, where we're showing up for our community. We're doing these live streams. People know that we're together and what we believe in and what we're working towards together. So that requires us to have commitments to our audience to keep showing up. And so I said, let's start a live stream series where we are committed, showing people that we are committed, so that we also call in committed people. And so let's continue to show up to show that we value commitment. And if we value commitment to our audience, to our community, then we're going to show up in live stream. Because it's been such a hard time last year, we didn't have a lot of that routine and rhythm supporting us. So there's a little bit of difficulty today. And we had planned to go live at 1:30 my time and 4:30 Eastern time. And Bella had no idea that I sent out emails notifying people that we'd be going live at 1:30 my time. And she had a call previous to that kind of went close to the time. And I'm like sitting here wondering if we're going to go live, wondering where Bella is. And she's feeling like nobody knows that we're going to go live. So it's okay, maybe if we just begin this when we begin it. And this is the story I'm telling myself. It's not what Bella's thinking about, what Bella's going through. This is the story I'm thinking about. And I'm like, principles. I don't want to be late. Saturn is in the fifth gene key for me. This is impatience, patience, and timelessness. And so during the transit of the 60, I'm sitting here feeling like this impatience, like I'm in limitation because I can't go live. I have to wait for Bella. So where's Bella? Why? I don't like being late. I don't like people waiting for me. That's what causes a lot of unease for me, is if I think someone's waiting for me. So I'm sitting here wondering where Bella is and freaking out a little bit because I told people where I'd be and I'm not going to be there. And I'm even getting hot thinking about it because I'm like, I don't like being late. And so then I'm thinking, Bella's disrespecting me. And this is egocentric thinking. I want you to look at where Saturn is. Bella said we got the 49 and the 19. The 49 is reaction. The 49 has principles and values. And if I value being on time, I can't think that Bella values that, because what she also values is the integrity of the container she's creating. And if a client needs her longer than what is scheduled, then that trumps being late to a free live stream. And so I'm over here feeling like we need to be on time. This is what I value above everything else. Let's like not be late. And she's disrespecting me. But in the same token, if she knows my pressure, if she's feeling my pressure, she's like, Ashley's disrespecting me, because why would I get off of this call if this person is in the middle of processing something? So, but she has no idea I'm like in this energy.
And it's also 3 minutes before we're going to go live. So I'm not late, but we don't know what we're going to do. That's the same. But yeah, I'm also that we can do whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of that up until we get on the call. This is the energy that I'm in. I'm in the 60 that's alive. I'm like limitation and impatience because we're still in Capricorn season, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is in the 49, which is all about values and principles. And I'm like, you have crossed the line. I'm going to be in reaction. And once you're in it, that emotional energy is so, you just feel disrespected. And I can recognize this energy because my husband has the 49 in his SQ. And if you are not following his principles, you can feel his disappointment and disapproval. You're like, oh my God, I don't value the same thing you value. I'm not crossing. I mean, I may be crossing your line, but this is where I'm in integrity. So it's a very harsh energy. The 49, it creates revolutions. So Bella, where were you? What was this experience for you like? Because it's triggering some other things in you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm kind of logical in that way as you are. So if it's 27, it's not half past. And if we really needed to be live half past, and I didn't even know we needed to, there is still this like little, we could jump on. So part of me felt like I didn't do anything wrong. And then the bigger part, which is the thing that allowed me to work through this, is that, you know, when I heard you say, okay, so now maybe it's better, like we don't do this. And then I go back to all the times with my dad, and it's happened with partners as well, when it feels like something goes wrong, and then I'm threatened, or actually the reality is that then we don't go to the zoo, we don't go on, you know, to the store, and I just sit there, or some, you know, and I'll be like, you promised. And then, you know, then the whole thing has fallen, and I feel like I'm innocent, which is my IQ. And then in any way, like I'm the one who loses, and I'm always the one who loses. And my dad kind of telling me too, like, you know, don't fight with me because you are going to be the one losing. And that's sometimes how I felt with you, because you're a 5-1, you have a single definition. And if Ashley doesn't want to do something, you know, then we don't do it. And here it felt like I was so happy that you wanted to do something, but somehow I managed to mess it up. So now you're not going to want to do it with me ever more, because now I managed to betray you.
This is the 56. These are the stories. These are the stories that, and in order for us to understand these loops, like we have to articulate it. You know, she's collecting evidence that shows that, like,
I didn't even eat. I'm like, I didn't even eat. I'm here. I'm ready. I didn't even eat. I just had to change my top.
And I'm like, it's too bad. We're late. We might as well not do it anyways. And then it's not going to work out these other days, like the stories, because the energy is supporting Bella doing this kind of stuff alone, and Bella not getting what she wants. And she's always the one that loses. If the story is I'm always the one that loses, then I'm the dictator that says, no, we're not doing this anymore. Also, I'm not fixed where I'm like, let's push through this. I'm like, oh, look, we weren't supposed to do it. That's me. Look at the energy says that we're not supposed to do it. And Bella's similar to my husband, and they're going to like, no, we're here. The energy is just testing us, saying, do you really want to do it? And a part of me that likes comfort and likes things to just work out, I'm like, what kind of effort is this going to take? Because I don't really want to do it. But you know what helps is if you start working out and working your body, you start busting through those physical limitations. The energetic ones are so easy. So I've started to understand the value of physical exertion and working out, and how it actually impacts your ability to push through those boundaries and barriers that are energetically. You're like, no, I'm getting through this. And my husband's like a weightlifter. And so he's going to get through any kind of energetic boundary. He's going to cross boundaries. And I'm like, you're crossing my boundary. And he's like, but you let me, I got through. I was like, no. But anyways, I digress. So if she's the one that loses, and all the evidence is, you know, we're going to manifest somehow for us to also contribute to the result that is going to validate our belief, because we don't want to be disappointed. She's already been disappointed. Bella's already been disappointed with, we're going to do this. Oh, wait, no, you crossed like, I'm going to punish you, but no, we're not doing this now. She's like, what? I wanted to go to the zoo. Nope. You're a bad girl. We're staying home. That's not really what probably happened, but I'm just saying that. And my evidence is like, what, I don't even know. I didn't even unpack what my evidence is. Like, what is it that I'm trying to prove? Like,
well, you said something about that disrespect, that you feel not supported and even disrespected in your initiatives. Something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And if we can't do it if we can't do it together, if you're not on the same page as me, then we're just not going to do it. Or like, I can make so many stories about her being different than me and her difference being wrong. Or like, I can't do things back to back. I need to plan and prepare. I can't do. And then I feel like, well, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it because it's always going to be back to back. But that's a story. That's a generalization. And that's also the 44 coming in, which has a fear of the past repeating itself. It's going to be like, yeah, this happens back here. And remember, Pluto is all activated by this transit too. My Pluto is 44. I'm like, well, if this is in the past, then it's going to keep repeating itself and might as well just not do it because this is how it's always going to be. But we have an opportunity to rewrite the script.
And also the moon for the 2 days right now is in Scorpio. And, you know, that is about betrayal. That is about kind of the dark and the conflicts and the death and the divorce. So, and that's also our subjective experience of things. It's our emotions, what we need. So it can kind of go dark. And these few days, we can definitely feel we don't get what we need. The gate of limitation, the re-evaluation of relationships, and then the moon, our emotions, not really feeling like they get what they need.
Yeah. So when you have awareness and you can kind of unpack, and thank God for these systems, thank God for astrology, human design, gene keys, because I don't think without a frame of reference, and it would be just so hard to unpack this, to see what was going on. And I think that these are the things that people, like, we don't get taught these kind of things in school. They're not that they need to teach human design and gene keys. They need to teach like emotional competency. I opened a page to a book called why didn't someone tell me, or something like that. And the page was talking about all the different kinds of thinking that, like, I was telling Bella, I was like, I'm just in egocentric thinking. I think that you value what I value. I would never be late. I said I was going to be at this time. She's disrespecting me because she's being late. You know, it's like, well, she's not going to value the same things you value. The world doesn't revolve around you and your values. So that's egocentric thinking. And we all do it every now and then. It was role modeled to us. We see it all the time. And you really have to have awareness and be able to look at your thinking, be like, what's going on inside of me? Because that's creating your reality. Your reality is a box that you created for yourself. And if you feel oppressed in this box, it's because there's some kind of thinking that is the thing that's oppressed. It's like us that's doing it to ourselves. And then the macrocosm is reflecting the microcosm. So if you're feeling a bunch of limitation, there's a belief, structure, and pattern in here that's on loop. And if you can identify it and flip it, your reality is going to change, but not that easy. Like Bella and I are like, we're going to do things together and we're going to go live. And the universe is like, really? If you do, then you need to let go of, I'm the one who loses, and Ashley needs to let go of, is like, there's not going to be teamwork and there's not going to be time and we're going to be late and there's not enough time to plan for this. That's like my MO. But
you know,
there's so much to do.
Ashley, that's interesting here is that I'm actually in one way, like looking from that now, I'm like, Ashley's actually communicating with our community, because I usually feel like I'm the only one communicating. So in my head, the last thing I thought is that you had communicated, but I think that's also a beautiful thing for the new year. It's like, no, I don't have all the weight, which is the other thing, on my shoulders to communicate. So just because I didn't say it to the community, there were still people that knew it. So that's also why for me in my head, I had no idea anybody knew.
Isn't that your Pluto? Isn't the 50 your Pluto?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking about my Pluto. I was like, teamwork, and you're like, responsibility on my shoulders. It's like, yeah, of course, the Pluto is conjunct the sun, and we've got, you know, the Earth. What is the Earth conjunct with that you said?
On the other side.
Is it the Earth? Is it the Lilith and the Earth, Pluto and the sun? Yeah. Yep. So I'm sure that if you were to look at this kind of formula or pattern, you can see, okay, what's my Pluto in? That's going to contribute to where you feel limited, because we have this conjunction happening with Pluto and the sun, which is in gate 60, limitation. And then on the other side, the 56, 11. So what stories are supporting this limitation? And like, where can we allow to collect different evidence and to try something new and different? We've got to put effort, though, because the universe is going to be, do you really want to do this? Because me and Bella could have not gone live, because I was even saying, well, logically, if 1:30 is not really going to work, then maybe we should just not do it. Maybe the universe is telling us not to do it. And you're like, no, we're going to figure out a way to do it, because she wants that more. And I was thinking the universe was giving me evidence that maybe this is not the right time. I mean, we have to ask the right questions too. Is it the right time, or is this like
And I think that is also about priorities. And that's where I feel like, and this is what I definitely feel with a North Node in Taurus, and knowing that is 2023 simplification. Like maybe before you had a list of these many things that you want. And now we need to look at the 5 priorities, and that's the thing. So maybe for each project, for each thing, you have your 5 top things, because maybe we can't have everything, or at least start to have 5 things, and if you can see you can have them. So that's the thing for me when it comes to going live. I think it's just important to show up, and we can put it on the YouTube, and if you are interested, you just go to our YouTube channel. It doesn't like get lost like on Facebook. You just know that for the next 6 weeks we're going to do more lives than before, and you can catch them there. And some of you are in Australia, some of you are in London. Like, it doesn't really matter. I'm not expecting you to be live when we are live, and we're not even on the Facebook platforms. We can see.
Yeah, we can't even interact with people. And most of my stuff is my 5-1 is like, no, we need to have impact and as many people live as necessary and as can be, because people won't just like, if you send a message right now, then whoever's available right now will join. But if you notify them earlier in the day, and if they really want to be there, then they'll be there and they'll make time for it because they'll prioritize it. But somehow all of this is about priorities, because we're leaving Capricorn, structure, discipline, to Aquarius. So if you have any initiatives that you're going to start, then it's like, if you're telling the universe that you want to do this, then you got to prioritize it. So it just makes more sense to have, your list of priorities. And that way, when something new comes in, you're like, but this is my priority, just like, it's like my priority is to get to the gym and to get to the gym so that I can work out, so that I can work with this limitation, so I can work on it on a physical level. But if something comes along, an opportunity that says, oh, do you want to go get breakfast, or do you want to do this or that? And I prioritize that versus going to the gym. And I'm telling the universe, even though I said this was a priority, it's not really a priority. So it's like, to have those clear set of priorities, when you're in a partnership, you got to share the priorities, because one person's priority is not going to be the other person. So that's where right now is a great time, before we get into the transit of the 41. What are the priorities, and how are we working together to make sure these priorities get met? So I'm sure me and Bella today, we're going to be talking about priorities. If not, then like, we shouldn't be telling you. We need to get on the same page about priorities, like specifically and clearly, instead of like the things we think that we've said and talked about. It's like, oh, I thought this was our priority, and it's like, it wasn't specifically stated. That's where Mercury in retrograde kind of is showing us, oh, you can communicate a little bit better here.
And just know that next week by Sunday, all the planets are direct. So I can already feel the anticipation of the energy, and it's a new moon as well. So like, so much is going to start going forward, and that's going to be for 2-3 months, and then the whole rest of the year we don't have everything direct. So really, whatever seed that's there, it's very soon the time to put it in the soil, because it's going to be able to really sprout and grow in these few months that are coming.
Yeah, because all of our planetary friends are going in the same direction. They're on the same page. So it's like, now that I have all you guys looking at me, I want to let you know that this is the seed I'm planting. And so make sure you know this is my priority, and please support me, friends. And that's exactly what we're going into in the setup tomorrow. Like, this is our next, me and Bella have committed, planned, been very disciplined, put a lot of time and energy. It's not starting till tomorrow. It could fall apart right now. But if Bella and I are like, no, we're doing this, then we're going to do everything in our power to make tomorrow happen, because we put a lot of time, energy, and effort into it. And we want to commit to it. So for the next 12 months, we're going to be going into all of the different zodiac signs. So Aquarius is where we're starting tomorrow. It's like I said, the 60 is kind of bridging between Capricorn and Aquarius. And we're going to be moving through the 12 zodiac signs, creating a roadmap together of what's to come. What can you expect? What does it mean to be Aquarius, 11th house, ruled by Uranus? Doesn't matter if you're an Aquarius. Doesn't matter if you have any Aquarius or 11th house activations, you're influenced. It's even more important if you have a lot of things in opposition. And we'll talk about that tomorrow, but you may feel really crappy in this energy, because you have a lot of activations in one side of the chart, and it's just not in Aquarius. And it's going to take a lot of effort, dedication, and motivation to kind of work through this season. It could be like really in detriment for you. And that's okay. We meet resistance all the time. That's part of being human. That's part of evolving. So, did you want to share anything about the setup and our intentions for that? Since we're starting that tomorrow.
I did want to show that thing with archetypes a little bit to give a little bit of an overview, but also just, I think what's important here to kind of backtrack a little bit. When Ashley and I looked at transits a few years ago, I remember 2020 when everybody was in lockdown, we would take up the body graph, we would look at the numbers on the side of the body graph, and we would say, oh, that's really interesting that Mars is in that gate. Like, we would just speak about it, and actually looking back, it was in a very superficial way, because we didn't look at the wheel, we didn't look at anything. We just looked at that specific gate isolated, trying in our head with our ideas and stories to interpret it. So the more we actually went deeper and started to walk the wheel, and not only necessarily walking it with the sun, like today when we were showing you, we were bringing Pluto, we were bringing a lot of different things. So the way that astrology and human design and the gene keys, they are together, the pulse, everybody's in the gene keys, you know about the pulse. Every week we have a new key, and there's this beautiful little snippet on that key. So the energies that are in transit and how we can weave things, the easiest way to bring that in is through the language of astrology. And you don't need to be an astrologer. I'm not an astrologer, Ash is not an astrologer. But when you look at the wheel to know that some of the gates or hexagrams are in Aquarius, for example, and this is where I'm going to see if I can open this and share it with you.
No,
I have to make it preview it for it to show up.
yeah, it's got to be open.
So for example, here is where we are right now in the sun. So we are just thinking about the sun, and then the sun is moving on to 41, 19, 13, 49, and 30. And all these are in Aquarius. So if you learn the basics, the key words, like 10 words about Aquarius and how that energy moves, then you're going to understand a lot about this part of the wheel and a lot about the collective energies. So to know what's activated, and just starting with the sun, which is that's the main energy that comes, is super valuable and super important. So that's what we're doing in the setup. We're giving you the language of astrology to understand that in the wheel, in the astrological wheel, all these gates or gene keys are living in different parts, and those parts are the different signs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is the roadmap that we're creating together, and we've put a lot of time and intention. I keep saying time. I guess I'm really affected by the 5 right now. We put a lot of time
too. My Saturn.
You better respect my time. I put a lot of time into this. You're gonna like it. Oh my God.
It's funny, and you know, a part of me too, it's like, oh, are we, you know, I'm happy we're doing astrology because I'm tired of just like reiterating the archetypes. Oh, this is the originator. No, I love to see it as a journey. And for me, I want to take a new journey on the spiral every year. So to bring in astrology, which is 12 signs, 12 houses, and 9 planets, and to be able to play with those archetypes, I think that is amazing. And then everything that we do in Unlock Your Design is going to be so much more valuable. We have something we're jumping into in a couple of months from now, which is a business map, world, universe. And then that's going to be part of that. So if you do this and start to become more just aware and not in unease, but more comfortable with the astrological energies, then it's going to just be so much more valuable when you come into the more advanced teachings that we're planning to do as well this year.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the more you have awareness of, meaning the more you know, the more your mind is like, oh, okay. It's not thinking something is wrong. I think we just think like somehow we're being punished or something's wrong. And we're like, why am I meeting resistance? Why is this not working out? Why? We asked that question, why? And we were in the transit of the mystic. It asked that question, why? The great mystery, why? Why are you punishing me? Why? When we know the energetics that are the energy that is alive, we can like breathe. We can breathe. And I think at some point we come to a place where we don't even need to know anything. We just trust and surrender. But our egos are so strong and so loud that they're going to let us know when they're in discomfort and when they're in unease, and they're going to want to know. And I think the more and more we can give evidence that it's okay to surrender, it's okay to trust, know that if you're going to know the difference between force and like really you're needing to give that energy and push to get through it. Right. I think we're just all figuring that out till eventually you don't need to know anything about human design, gene keys, astrology. You unbox yourself from those containers. But for now, these containers give us the language to communicate to what's alive. You got to know what's alive because you got to know what you're working with. Because if you're in the kitchen creating, you need to know what ingredients you're working with. If you don't, how do you even know how to utilize them? You're going to just be like, I'm going to wing it. And I don't really know what that tastes like or that tastes like, but I'm just going to throw it in. That's why great chefs, like they have this knowing of this tastes like this, and I'm going to put this much in it. And so when you know what energies are coming, you know what's influencing your soup, and you're not going to try to do something that is contradictory to what's supporting you right now.
Mm-hmm. And just maybe the last thing, what we have seen this year is that a lot of the things we want to do is stepping it up a bit. And we could say kind of professional, because there is something, again, to do the same thing over and over again, I can't do it. And what we have seen is that people that follow us, even people that were in our membership a few years ago, they are now off doing their thing where they are synthesizing, maybe toning forks with gene keys. Like they are doing things with what they learned in the path with Unlock Your Design. And what I feel is that everything is stepping it up. So including astrology is one of these things. We have something we've spoken about doing more of like a chart reading that's more advanced. The business thing is more advanced. So there is something about stepping it up, both for us and for people that come in, because like Ash is saying, we can use all these things and maybe at the end of the day, we don't need to use them. But there's also something where Ash and I created alive today, where we can sit here and speak about those things, and it's actually much more fun than to sit in an office and like know that I have like 20 minutes before I can go home for the day, before my boss allows me to go home. Like this is something where all of you that are watching and that love these systems, I believe that in what we're going to go into with where the world is going, we need more guides, and we need people that are really comfortable with systems to be able to help others to find their alignment with themselves. And the cool thing with those systems is that it's not somebody outside telling you what's true for you. It's you getting to know your soul, your true self, and then walk with that. So for me, there's also a thing, follow with us this year and see how can this become part of your personal life, but also your professional life. Now, it doesn't matter, like if you have the same thing that happened for me and Ashley between two colleagues in an office, could have those people not even say hi to each other in the corridor every single day for the next few months, so this is something that can be used wherever you are in your life. And that's what that's I guess why we're still doing it so many years in, and also because it's fun. And then I don't have to go to a party on Friday night and figure out when everybody's born and try to push on them what I know about astrology. I don't. So it's not that we need to push it on somebody, but if we want to play with it, why not?
Yeah. And I mean, you're talking about pushing in it. We're gonna illuminate some of the qualities of Aquarius and what might be activated in this energy, and maybe how you might be pushing your opinions, your ideas on other people because you know better, because you know best. So it's good to know what's alive. And that's what we aim to give you, is what's alive in us that can serve you, that you can learn from. We're not just going to share to vent. We're sharing to be transparent and to illuminate, like, what can happen so that you can choose different, so that you can utilize what we've learned, take that, and then you don't need to go through what we go through. Unless you're an experiential learner, then go ahead and go through it. But I hope that you'll join us tomorrow for the setup. Aquarius.
It's going to be more structured. We are now going to meet in 20 minutes and we're going to speak about how can we fit this in a constructive way within the framework of a masterclass. So please, if there is no earthquake happening in California and no tropical storm taking me away, tomorrow we're going to have something that's pretty well prepared for you. Very different in this life.
We'll let you know if there's any inner earthquakes or inner storms as well. Be like, oh, we met resistance again, but we're here. Thank you for today, and we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Goodbye.